I think all of us have known at least one or two families, at least, that have moved up into the Boise area in Idaho. I'm about to introduce you to my beautiful colleague, Summer Aston, in the Boise area. She has helped several Californians relocate from California to Idaho, or should I say, Idaho. You are not going to want to miss this interview. Stay tuned. All right, so here we are with my beautiful friend, Summer Aston in Boise. Summer, introduce yourself, please.
I'm Summer Aston. I am a realtor, as Angel said, in the Boise, Idaho area, and I have a YouTube channel. That's how Angel and I have met, and just love selling real estate here.
Yay. Now, at one point, let me see if you can see my hand. So at one point, you could sell in California and you were able to get a crap ton. You could get a crap ton in Idaho. And over the last handful of years, even before lockdown in 2020, things have gotten a little upside down, right? So we're not able to sell and buy outright, which I know a lot of Californians love to do, where they move to. Tell me what the situation is like that. Give me a brief summary of that.
So our median price for the whole county, Ada County, is now at $549,000.
Okay, and what?
It's at
like a first-time home buyer is what?
Well, the median is $549,000. So
okay,
first-time home buyer, honestly, it's super hard to find under $400,000.
Okay, so starting first-time home buyer is going to be looking at fours to start.
Yes.
And this is spring of 2022. So
yeah. So it was, save
your pennies, man.
Sir, it just depends on your market. So I've seen, because I follow you on your things, it looks like that generally speaking, we are more expensive than what you could get in Bakersfield for your money. And of course, there's a lot more that goes into that. Like, we do have lower property taxes and lower other things to cost of living.
Right.
So it's possibly better long-term for retirement here, things like that. But if you're looking at just those house prices, I think we are higher than you guys are in a lot of ways. It looks like, based on what I've seen on
I agree.
Your media.
And the industry. So does the industry, the income, does it support the increase? I mean, I know at one point people were like, yeah, that's nice, we can move here, but there's no jobs. But I think that's kind of changed.
So yes and no, right? Because everything changed when everybody could work from home. And so you've got, that's what the bulk of everyone moving here is working from home. And then they're out of state salaries, and then also their equity. So they can afford it. As far as the local people go, we had a lot of people working from, and my husband has actually worked from home for a long time, based out of Portland anyways. So and again, back to our own little street. I mean, I think like half the people on our street have worked from home for years and years anyways. So Boise's been a choice destination for people who discovered it and had the option,
Right.
But most of the locals have, if they are homeowners, they have a ton of equity. And so
here in California, or are you talking about in Idaho?
In Idaho.
Okay.
So they are still able to move up or down, right? So even if they have an Idaho salary that is lower, because of all of their equity,
right,
it works for them and they can still move around. It's unfortunately just those people who've never bought a home before and have Idaho salaries that are having a really hard time.
You sold a house. You had a video on your channel that I was like, let me just pick up my jaw, because this house was bomb diggity. I might have just dated myself with that word. But anyway, it had, well, first of all, it had this really, really cool drop down shade, because it faced the west, or it faced sunset, I guess. And then it had this, I'm getting to the equity part. So it had this giant RV, indoor RV downstairs. Right. I mean, I was just watching that video keep going. And, of course the rooms were bomb, and it was that house just kept going, and that outdoor patio had a jacuzzi and that. Okay. So that kind of seller in Idaho is probably sitting on a crap ton of equity. Am I right?
Yeah. So those people bought for somewhere in the 300s, and then we sold it for just over $7.
Wow. Good for you guys. And so that is happening a lot in in Idaho where we Californians are coming and our first time home buy is 4, right? Or our median is 4 to 5s, and we're getting what we can't even get here still, is what you're saying. So we're still going to get more for our money there, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it depends on where you're coming from. So like if you have people coming from the more expensive areas of the coast, then they still get a lot more money, or a lot more for their money in our area.
One more question about us Californians moving there. What is our like biggest adjustment that we have to make, or that you're finding that we're the most, because you service Boise, Nampa, Meridian, Middleton, all of those areas, right? Star, Eagle. Not that I watch your channel or anything.
You got it.
I do. I'm a subscriber, of course, which, by the way, make sure you go to Summer's channel. Hello. If you're not subscribing to mine,
go to my channel.
Go to Summer's.
Yeah.
Go ahead. But what freaks us Californians out? Like, what do we need to figure out before we move there?
So I think, when we moved here 20 years ago, I kind of went through those things. Everyone's, and I had been in California my whole life. My husband had been in Pennsylvania and other areas. So it wasn't some of those things weren't as big an adjustment to him.
Right.
For me, first and foremost was the weather. I mean, I wasn't used to the length of the winter. And I didn't
length.
Well, it's
how many months?
In my mind, it gets cold starting right after Halloween. It usually gets very cold. And then we don't get warm, which, warm to me is like 70 to 75 at least, right? Because when I spent my years in Sacramento as a kid, like I got used to that 110 or whatever, right?
Right.
So that 70, so we're in the spring, we're kind of all over the board. We're like 75 one day and 35 the next day. And anyway, so we don't get consistently warm until June. And so that was long for me. And
well, it's funny because in Bakersfield, it starts to get cold, like you said, about November, but we're pretty much done with it by the time like Christmas is done. We're like, all right, then done being cold, time to start warming up. And it doesn't really start warming up until like middle to late of February. So I can see where that would be like an adjustment for people in Bakersfield to be like, well, it's still cold.
Yeah.
It's still cold.
Like my parents their tomatoes are ripe like in June, just kind of chilling out and slowing down a little bit around here. Like
people slower pace up in Idaho.
Yeah. People will talk to each other in line at the grocery store and like strangers and hold the door open for each other and like wait. If they see someone's coming out the door, they'll wait a minute and hold it for them. And they'll like wave people through like left-hand, turns that when the traffic's bad. So just having a little patience with that. The speed limits are a little lower here. So we literally
lead foot's up there is what you're telling me. I can't be at my lead foot.
Like after a couple of days, my husband and I both had like this shin muscle that was like aching, and we're like, what the heck, on our our right foot. And we realized it was because we had to like hold our foot like up, like at a, we had to go slower, and we like had to build this muscle so that we could literally
just flat like we do. Go, get there faster.
Yeah.
Everything's faster in California.
Yeah. So those are probably the biggest things, is just kind of chilling out. And that it's smaller. I mean, people want to move here because it's smaller, but
do they get their pissy pants on when it is? They go, oh, I want to move where it's smaller. And then they get pissy when it's smaller.
So people don't quite understand until they come that the valley that we're talking about, Boise, with those 7 towns, that's it. And when you leave those areas, you're either in the rugged mountains or the total desert or the farmland. And
Treasure Valley is what it's called, right?
And so, yes. And so when they look at the map and they see something like Nampa or Star or Eagle, they think it's kind of something like Huntington Beach and Newport Beach or something, where each of those areas is going to have their own Whole Foods and their own Trader Joe's and their own mall. And they're not. It's all, most of that stuff is in Boise and Meridian, and that's it.
Right.
Those other areas don't have that kind of stuff. So that's a little bit hard for people to get used to, because they're like, well, I want to live in a smaller town like Star, but then I want to be able to, get to the Whole Foods or something like that in 5 minutes. or some other kind of shopping, and it's not.
So like there won't be a Costco in Star and a Costco in Meridian and a Costco in Middleton. You're going to have to go to the Costco.
Yes. We have 3 Costcos in the whole valley, Nampa, Meridian, and Boise, and 3 Targets in the whole valley.
Oh.
Meridian, yes, which that is bad. Anyone from Target listening? We need more Targets.
Listen, Target.
Listen, Target, you're watching this channel, I know.
And let me ask you a question about that area that you service. So those 7 cities that we've been talking about, that's mainly the area that you service. So you're not servicing CDL, Coeur d'Alene. You're not servicing Snake River or Idaho Falls. You're mainly in Treasure Valley. Am I right?
Yes. So
okay. So one of the things that, I've seen on your channel that has inspired me, quite honestly, is, how you're showing your expertise for the area. And didn't you just put together a map of like your area? Like if I were to come there, you're busy doing real estate, but I'm still interested in moving there, but you have a map that I can download. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. So we get so many requests from the YouTube channel for people who are coming to visit, and they don't, they're comparing, right? Exactly that's what your channel is so awesome at, is that you're saying, hey, let's compare Boise, let's compare Tennessee, let's compare Florida. And that's exactly what people are doing. And so instead I made this tour map, and it's just a loop of the valley so that they could do it in a day if they wanted to. Or
we'll go to all 7 of those cities.
Yep, it goes through all of the cities, and then and watch the video that goes with it, because there's a little bit of funkiness with Google custom maps that you need to know. But anyways,
nice teaser. We'll be watching that. Ooh, what did she say?
What's the funkiness?
Yeah.
So
that'll get us around to Star, Eagle, Nampa, Boise.
Around. And the other thing that's great about it is you could actually just do it from home too, because I have community tours with video, tons of video and tons of information about every single one of those cities, plus more. So I put the videos on the map, so somebody at home can just even take that tour at home and kind of see, okay, now this is what this area looks like, and watch the video. This is what this area looks like, and watch the video.
So not only can I see the map, right, that you put together, when I'm like, hey, maybe I do want Nampa because of X, Y, and Z reason.
Right.
Does she have a tour of Nampa? You have connected that video of Nampa's tour?
Yeah. Yep. That's on the map. So all you do is
# beauty and brains. Like, hello, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome, because then you can see, it's hard. Like when you watch the videos on someone's channel all individually,
they don't make sense.
It's hard to spatially figure that out. So that's what it's for. And then along with that, I have a PDF that when somebody gets the map, they get the PDF too. And for each area of town, it tells you things to do, like side trips you could take and restaurants you can go to. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
But as I do more specific communities, because that's the beauty of the map, once you have the link, every time I update it, it will get updated. And so those videos will show up on there. So like maybe you get the map now, but you're not coming for a visit for 6 months. Whatever I've added as tours on there will be on there.
That is fantastic. What do you think about this interview with Summer? Isn't she an expert? My gosh, the driving tour, everything that she's talking about just is fantastic information for you. By the way, I'm here week after week putting out this information, these interviews, all of this information about moving to California, moving to Bakersfield. And I would love it if you would smash the like button, subscribe, and be here with me every single week, because this information is just key to helping you get a good idea of if you're moving to Bakersfield or if you're leaving California and heading to a community like the Boise area with Summer. I would be happy to help you, sell here in California and hand you off to my friend Summer. Okay, so Bakersfield gets wicked hot here. Like we're talking triple digits, drier than dry, not a lick of humidity.
You're making me jealous.
So a lot of our houses have pools. And I know there's a water park up there, but I don't see a lot of the houses that you're selling that have pools. Is that normal for that area because of the snow?
Yes,
help me.
That's normal. Yeah. So we have the Roaring Springs Water Park, which is massive. And then there's several, tons of neighborhoods that have community pools, which is kind of the best way to do it here, just because the pools just take a lot of maintenance. And because our winters are so long, our swimming season without heating the pool is maybe 10 weeks. And otherwise, outside of that, you're going to need to heat it, and then you have to winterize it and all of this stuff. So
because we're swimming by Easter, and we're still swimming around Halloween. So we have we have the potential for a very long swim season if we have a pool.
No, our pools close, like even the city pools, like everything they close down at the end of August.
Oh, wow.
Open, sometimes open in May, like the community pools if they're heating them.
So in those community pools, would that be like a new construction area? So you're going to have like an HOA where there's going to be a community pool in a new construction neighborhood?
Yes, actually, and that reminds me with the HOAs. That is another thing Californians are not as used to. We have almost all of our communities have some kind of HOA, except for homes that were built maybe like before the 80s. Other than that, so that, I mean, unless you live out on land somewhere, but even like the more luxury communities that have land, they have strict HOAs. But yes, so usually communities with pools, obviously they're going to have an HOA and other rules to follow. But our HOA fees here are relatively inexpensive. We don't have mellow roofs and things like that.
Okay.
So
it's so nice to talk to somebody that's got like the California verbiage, right? Because you know what you know the words. In other states, they don't know what Melrose is. They're like, what the heck is that? And we talk about, can you buy it out? And they're like, what is this?
Yeah.
Why would I buy out a tax and all of that? So it's nice that probably from working with so many of us and being from here, is the things that are our sweet spots, like our sensitivities. So thank you for that.
Oh, sure. You're welcome.
What is new construction like up there? Is it going to be like, like if I'm a first time home buyer and I don't have the $550,000 to get into a house, or even the 400, is my best bet to go with new construction so I've got time? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so our new construction is similar to what you guys are experiencing, and we've got a couple of different style of builders. So we have a few builders that are building what we would still consider like the entry level or the downsizing homes, and they are still, actually those builders are typically allowing you to get the house at the beginning, before it's permitted, and then kind of choose your choices and things like that.
Okay, so you're not just doing spec homes; they can actually still pick the things.
So at the price point where you're under about like $550, there are a handful of builders that you can do that with. The time frames are long. Toll Brothers is higher price than that here, Toll Brothers, but they are taking a very long time. Toll Brothers build jobs are like 15 to 20 months.
Okay.
But
this is 2022. If our goal is to be up there by 2024, we would need to get cracking on the Toll Brothers, TOLL.
Yeah, TOLL. Yeah, Toll Brothers.
And sometimes it seems long to us, right? Because we're realtors, because we do things in shorter time frames. But really, for somebody that's got it on the radar, and the rates being what they are right now, they should probably take advantage of that, don't you think?
Yes. So that's what anyone who's considering new construction, even if it's within the next like 6 months to a year, really needs to reach out to us now, because there are a handful of builders that sometimes that's better for you, because you don't have to deal with the competition with investors and paying over asking.
Right.
So that can be a really good solution in that situation. But once we get up to above that, like the 700 to 1.2 million, 1.3, unfortunately, most of the custom builders have gone to doing spec homes.
That's at a 700,000 right now price point, right?
Yeah, it's about
2022.
Sevens and ups for that type of, where it was builders that used to build custom, and they're building very nice spec homes.
Okay.
And that's the bulk of it. We kind of have a gap in building between like 600 to 700, really, for some reason. There's kind of the more entry level, and then it kind of jumps.
A big window.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. So, but yeah, it just takes a while. And then a lot of people come to me and ask about custom lots on acreage, and that's fine. It can be done. It's
Right.
obviously difficult and time consuming, but if somebody wants to go through that, they can.
Yeah.
But you're looking at minimum like 1.2, 1.3 million. I mean, I had somebody that had a bid for a well.
But I think one of the takeaways that I would say from just having this conversation, knowing your channel, is that, it's not full and you're still letting us in.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. And we just need to pack our patience once we get there and for the purchase of whatever we're going to buy. Am I right?
Yep. And be prepared. So that's what my channel is about too.
Now, before we leave, I want to be mindful of your time. Tell people the name of your channel and your Instagram page so that we can get that on here one more time.
Pretty easy. The name of the channel is Summer Aston Real Estate, and Instagram is also Summer Aston Real Estate.
And you have a very robust channel. From a YouTube perspective, I'm very jealous because I'm like, man, oh man. But from a viewer perspective, I mean, clearly you're the expert. You have, you take the time, you make very informative videos, the maps, the driving tours, I mean, everything. So thank you so much for joining me here on my channel.
You're welcome.
Huh?
I said you're welcome.
Oh, yes. And then, yeah, if people want to reach out, they can get the link in my description, or they can get it when they go to your channel. Everything's going to be on here. Thank you so much, Summer. I'm so glad I got to introduce you to my viewers.
Yeah, thank you for interviewing me and learning about.
I'm just thrilled for the opportunity for people who need to leave Bakersfield to come. I know I'm going to be handing them to a complete gem.
Thank you. Yep, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Now, if you are thinking about leaving California, maybe for Texas or Florida or Utah, I have done interviews with other colleagues of mine in those states as well. Make sure you check those out.